I've been doing music theory for 3 hours. I am so over it and so tired. But what I wanted to talk about right now was I had a brilliant idea. And by brilliant idea, I mean I saw a YouTube short about something that I've seen multiple times. And it is, should we add, not like without nerfing characters, how would you defeat triple support? And they said, well, my idea, without doing major nerfs and major reworks, which is what we should do, but without doing any of that, would be to add role passives. So maybe if you play 2 supports, you're fine, but when you play 3 supports, you get 15% less ult charge or 10% less healing. That's ass. That's so bad. That's so bad for multiple reasons. One of them being characters like Adam or Ultron or Mantis just become not viable. They're not super viable, at least in ranked. In pro play, they might be super viable. I haven't watched it in a few seasons, but uh, in ranked, those characters are pretty much only viable in triple support. Then removing what healing they do have, they don't have the damage to compensate for that. So those characters are just off the table, shit in the bucket if they have bad healing, and if you get less ult charge, then they're you get less ult charge. Their DPS are getting the same amount of ult charge for the same amount of damage that they would be doing. They actually get it faster now that they can do more damage before someone dies, and so if you get less ult charge, their DPS gets ult charge faster. You are essentially telling them that even though it's open queue, it's role queue. You can't do more than 2 supports. And role passives that hard enforce things like that, soft enforce things like that, are bad in my opinion, and it also takes a few characters off the table as super playable characters. Because I think the ones that act as third supports, like hybrid between support and DPS, they're probably my favorite, like design wise. Outside of Ultron, I think Ultron's kind of boring, but I think the other ones are probably might be my favorite supports as far as their kit and their design, and like the hero design, not their character design. Sorry, I'm thinking in triads and diminished sevenths, and I don't like it. But I do think role passives would be really cool, and here's my idea for that. It needs to be something that encourage that makes it easier if you're playing just one, and then when you're playing the normal amount, it's normal, and when you're playing more, you get like pretty much no benefit. So for tank, they are adding so much CC to this game, and it does not look like they're going to stop adding CC. So my idea for the tank role passive would be, if you're playing one tank, you have 50%, you are affected 50% less by stuns. So if a stun would affect you for 4 seconds, it's now 2 seconds. And that's only if you're solo tanking. If you're duo tanking, it's 20% less. So, and it's only for CCs, for pushes, pulls. I think that's a good common ground, instead of giving every character unmovable, as that sounds called, whatever, that you gave Groot on his wall. Instead of doing that, because they essentially just gave that to Hulk monster form, Thing already has that, Diamond form has that. Like, instead of doing that, just make it, if you're playing 1, 50% less, 2, 20% less, and then if you're playing 1, it's only like 5% less, because if you're playing 3 or more, it's 5% less, because you don't want them to really have it. At 4, just make it 0. You don't get a role passive because you're playing too much of that role to get a reward for it, right? I think that's a cool idea of how to do it. With DPS and support, I can't think of any balanced way to do that outside of nerf all their damage. Nerf, like if you wanted to do the same kind of thing, right? Same kind of thing with DPS and support. With DPS, I'm thinking every time they get a final hit, you gain 75 bonus health. Sorry. You gain 50 bonus health every time you get a final hit. on any DPS if you're playing 1 DPS. If you're playing 2 DPS, it's 20 bonus health on a final hit. And the numbers can be changed for all of these because it's just easier to show how it's more than half every time. If you're playing 2 DPS, it's only 20. If you're playing 3 DPS, it's 5. And if you're playing 4 DPS, it's nothing. You don't get anything. I think that incentivizes kills and incentivizes good target priority because you want to kill low targets to get your bonus health to keep yourself up instead of just pumping damage into tanks. That incentivizes playing well and playing the game well while also rewarding you for not playing a lot of that role and it rewards you for playing that role in general, but also punishes you for playing too much of it, and not in a way where it's a hard punishment where, oh, we don't get any bonus for playing 3 supports. There's genuinely nothing that we get, and actually we kind of get punished for playing 3 supports, like a hard punishment, like you do less because you played 3 supports, not your bonus is less, you do less at a base level because you played 3 supports. And so I think that's a good thing with both the tanks and the DPS, because it shouldn't be a hard punishment. It should be a reward in general for playing the role as your passive, and then the more of it you play, the less of the reward you get. So you're punished for playing 3 tanks, but just because you're CC, you're going to be CC'd more, right? And it's a give and take. You have more sustain, more survivability, but you get CC'd more, and the CCs last longer and are more effective. And so I think it's a good give and take, and same thing with the DPS. You'd probably change those numbers on how much bonus health you get, or maybe not even give bonus health, maybe a little boost, maybe just a health, like you get 50 HP, just flat, the white health, the base HP. And you change the numbers around, something where it affects their survivability, encourages them to go for people who are low to boost themselves. But you don't want to do some sort of damage boost, because damage is already so prevalent in this game, so strong. That wouldn't be fun to play into. For supports, I really don't have a good idea. I genuinely don't. My only idea right now is nerf all supports across the board by 20%. All of their healing goes down by 20%, and then their role passive would be 1 support, 50% healing boost, 2 supports, 2% healing boost, 20% healing boost, which is exactly like what I said, and then 3 supports, 10% healing boost or 5%. But the problem with that is you are healing 15% less than you typically would, which is just the healing reduction for playing 3 support, which takes Adam and Mantis off the table, and that's not good, right? So for supports, I think it's going to be a lot trickier, without making them overpowered. But I mean, this is just ideas. I just wanted to go, wow, this is what I think. I think it's a really cool idea, a really good idea. Like for the tanks, I think the tank idea is really good, personally, in my noodle. I think it's really good, because if you're playing one tank into Rogue, Thor, and I've done it before, and it's hellish. Rogue, Thor, Invis, Moon Knight, and Blade with a 5. They also played Gambit, but Gambit's CC isn't so, like, in your face. Thor was pushing me around. Rogue was launching me up, pulling me in with her shift, grabbing me. Invis was pushing and pulling me. Blade was pushing me when he dashed into me. Moon Knight's Augs were pulling me against my will. It is hellish. But if all of that is reduced by half, then it's suddenly not as bad, and it makes playing one tank more bearable. And CC is already a huge, prevalent problem in the game, because they just keep adding it. It's no longer an ability that, oh, they're playing dive, or they're playing something that doesn't have a shield, I will play something with CC. damn near every character in the game has some form of crowd control in some way, and it does not look like they're going to stop after. Deadpool doesn't really have a crowd control in the traditional sense, but he has visual clutter as an ability. I mean, that's not quite crowd control. And so I went, wow, they're getting more unique with the effects that they're going to put on people. And then they released Elsa Bloodstone, who has crowd control. And it's a very easy crowd control to use, and you don't even have to think about it. And it is insane. Like, at least with Penny, if they're more than 2 feet away from you, you have to do a little bit of aiming. It's a projectile. I have hit some pretty bullshit webs. I'm not going to lie. Where I go, that shit missed you. I'm on your side for that. How the fuck did that hit? Right. But it's, at least you have to do a little bit of aiming. Also, Bloodstones is crazy. The amount of times I've been mid-fight, I'm on the front line the entire time, I move to my left, get caught in the trap, and then like 10 seconds later, I'm in another Elsa Bloodstone trap, and I go, when did this shit come out? The first one I understand, I wasn't there yet when you placed it, but the second one, I've been here. I didn't die. When did you place this? And it, like, the arming period is so short before it goes invincible. Ugh. But the point is that CC is super prevalent. Doesn't look like they're slowing down on how much CC they're just handing out. And as we've learned with Bucky, they can just give CC to somebody as, oh, this is an ability to help you be better. So with that being extra prevalent in the game, solo tanking is going to get worse because you're going to be in CC hell the entire time. And even duo tank will get, with 2 tanks, will be terrible because you'll be CC'd all the time. So if you're playing tank, you should have, CC should have less of an impact on you for that reason, in my opinion. And I think that's a really good way to do it with rule of passives. I think giving DPS something that encourages them to get final hits, which means focus fire characters who are low with good target priority, that's good because that rewards skill. That makes playing DPS better because the whole power trip is to kill people when you're playing DPS, not to just look at a tank and hold left click. At least I would assume that's what I like to do when I play DPS, but I guess I won't speak for everybody. And then support's the hardest one because if you nerf the healing as a class, you go, oh, if you play more than this many supports, you do less healing, then you make characters like, at least I think it, my assumption, my thought process is that it will make characters like Atom, Mantis, Ultron, make them not worth playing. Because if you're going to play through supports, why would I play someone who already doesn't heal a lot, and now they heal nothing? A Band-Aid would do better than what they can do, right? And so you're just gonna play Luna or Cloak or Loki or Gambit or Invis as your third support instead of the people who are designed to be third supports. So if you have an idea on how to, on a better DPS one or a better support one, let me know. But I think this is a great idea that should be implemented in some fashion to both reward for, like, if you're playing with one tank, you get a really good reward, and not hard punish, but punish in the fact that you don't get as big of a reward, overextending into a certain role, which triple tank works. But if you're playing triple tank, you shouldn't get a huge buff to all 3 tanks, which is why it goes down by a drastic amount each time, by over half. Let me know what you guys think about it. Thanks for watching, and of course, I said it in the wrong order. Wet Willy.